Welcome to our Amud Yom Shir. We are in Shabbos Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph. Be'ezras Hashem. Today we have the whiteboard. I think it's kedai to have things written down as we go along. Cheers for the Hatzlocha and Shidduch of Yitzchak Meir and Ben Michal. Well, Zev Ben Miriam. Over Shaliba Bas Esther Fuma. Esther Shar B'nei U'B'nai Yisrael. Okay. So we have in Beis Amud Aleph, we still have some stuff from yesterday. Yesterday, the Gemara had a question on Shmuel. How come Shmuel agrees with Rabbi Shimon when it comes to Dover Shen Miskaven, and when it comes to Malocha Shen Tzarich Lagufa, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda? That was a question. Yeah. So the Gemara answered, no, these are two separate things. Ein Miskaven is like Rabbi Shimon, and Tzarich Lagufa is Rabbi Yehuda. Shmuel is not. He didn't sign a contract with either Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Shimon. He can hold one way this way, and the other way like the other Tana. So Tosfos really asks the question. Let's see Tosfos, just a few words. Afilu shaleitz nami. Back Tosfos, the first Tosfos on the page. Ve'im toimar, yeah, ve'im toimar. Umay sal kadatach de makshe. What did the makshe actually think? V'chim mishum desover Shmuel Rabbi Shimon ben Miskaven isbol k'moyse melocha shen tzarich lagufa. Right? Why should one mean the other? Because Shmuel is like Rabbi Shimon in Dover Shen Miskaven, why does that automatically mean that he has to think the same, that he has to follow him also in Melocha Shen Tzarich Lagufa? The Shloimar, and he answers Tosfos, the Salka Datach the Makshe thought, I mean, the Makshe is wrong according to Maskana, that's actually the answer, but Tosfos says, what's the Havamina? Chazon Ish says, every Havamina you have to understand in the Gemara. Yeah, mostly. The Shloimar, the Salka Datach the Makshe, the Vadai Ho Beho Talia. The Makshe thought that one topic depends on the other. Dover Shen Miskaven in Tzarich Lagufa. Why? Shum desover Rabbi Yehuda the Melocha Shen Tzarich Lagufa Chayv Alea Eicha de Miskaven. Melocha Shen Tzarich Lagufa is always, to use very coarse words, it's always worse than Dover Shen Miskaven. Why? Melocha Shen Tzarich Lagufa, you're doing a melocha. You're digging a hole. You're extinguishing the fire. You're doing it b'chavana. Elamai. Your goal, your purpose is not the same as the Mishkan, not the same as normal, you're not gaining enough, But the Maisa, Dover Shen Miskaven is better. You really don't mean to do any Meleches Isu, right? So the two have to do with each other, and he says like this, the Sovel of Yehuda, Meloches Shech Lagufa Chayv Alea, Hech the Miskaven, when you have Kavana to do something bad, but with a different purpose, and it's a Gufa. And what does Rabbi Yehuda say there? You're chayiv. If so, b'she'en miskaven nami yachmiru chachomim. It makes sense when you don't have the kavana to do the wrong thing. It makes sense. Chachomim also are machmir. In other words, Rabbi Yehuda says if melocha shetzarich gufa, when you have bad kavana, it's also in the Torah. So when you don't have bad kavana, but you may come to do the iser, it's a similar concept. Maybe then it's one level up. And then Chachamim would be Machmir, and at least Aserit Midorabanon, which is what Rabbi Yehuda says. Aval Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, the Potu Olea Mina Toyo. According to Rabbi Shimon, the Melocha Shetzarich Lagufa is Potu. What does it mean? It's Osur Midorabanon. The Melocha Shetzarich Lagufa is not as bad. Even Melocha Shetzarich Lagufa, which is worse, is only also Midorabanon. If so, if Miskaven, even though you're Miskaven, if so, Lo chash le'esor midorabanan kshein miskaven. Yeah, if so, Chachomim did not want to aser it midorabanan when you have no kavanah at all. Given the miskaven atzmo leika le'esor midorabanan. Even if you're mechaven and you have something disconnected in your mind, yeah, and you're mechaven to do the wrong thing but not for the right purpose, it's only also midorabanan. So when you have no kavanah at all, right, then it's not even midorabanan, it's not even osur. Then Tosfos says, but according to the truth, lav habahotalia. They don't depend on each other. In other words, I just want to add one thing on Tosfos, and that is that both Melocha Shen Tzarich Lagufa and Dover Shen Miskaven are connected. They both have to do the concept of Meleches Machsheves. Yeah, Meleches Machsheves. They both have to do with how your mind, your Machsheves, works while doing the Meleches. This is something unique for Shabbos, which doesn't exist in other parts of Torah. And therefore, there is some kind of connection. On the other hand, it's not mechuyev, yeah, that if you hold one way like Rabbi Yehuda, you have to hold him the other way. In other words, it can be, let's say, Shmuel over here, he holds like Rabbi Shimon, and it's Melocha Shetzarich Lagufa, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, which is also the Oraisa, but Dover Shen Miskaven, he says, no, Dover Shen Miskaven is so much better Dovel Shen Miskaven is so much better because the mamish have no kavanah to do anything bad. He's so makel, he says it's even allowed. Right? They can be connected, but they can also be detached. Because at the end of the day, Dovel Shen Miskaven is really much better. I have no kavanah to do anything bad at all on Shabbos. So maybe there I could go to an extreme of Reb Shimon and say that it's absolutely allowed, as long as it's not psikresha. Okay. Weiter. Now let's learn about the kois that I promised yesterday. Let's see now what we have to say about in the topic of, we're in the two dots. The two dots line starts with the word afilu tuva, and then you have the two dots aval noisen, right? We said you're allowed to place your what should we call it? You're allowed to place the water to be nifshal, to be lukewarm, in a pot that's off the fire under certain conditions, and also in a kos. What's a kos? A kos is Keli Sheni. A kos is a glass. You don't put glasses on the fire. So it looks like it's kol sheken, obviously okay, to cook something in Keli Sheni, and the general rule is what? Keli Sheni, we saw Daf Mem Amud Beis in the store of Rabbi in the bathhouse. Keli Sheni ena mevashel. Keli Sheni doesn't cook, and we explained very nicely in Tosfos, the walls of the Keli Sheni, they get cold quicker. By the time it cooks, the water it doesn't manage to cook before the kli gets cold. Tono bono. Now we're going to see it's not so simple. We're going to have now a question of Keli Sheni. Tono bono. Bezos Hashem. Noisen odem chamin letoich soinen. Yeah. Now I'm going to use this soon. Bezos Hashem. Noisen odem chamin letoich soinen. Velo hatsoinen letoch chamin divrei bis shamai. A person may put chamin, hot water, into cold water. You have cold water in a kli, and you put hot water inside of that, and that is okay, right? Soon I'll explain why. But if you have some hot water stationed in the kli, you're not allowed to put cold water in them. Divrei bis shamai. What does it mean? Rashi says that the reason why you're allowed to put hot into cold and not vice versa, there's a concept in Machlokes Rav Shmuel in Pesachim Daf Ayin Vav, tato govar or ilo govar. Use it a lot in kashrus. Tato govar means the one that's underneath. When you have two solids, usually in this case liquids, when you have something that's tato, the bottom part of, let's say, of food item or liquids, and then you have something that comes on top of it, the tato is more powerful. The bottom one is more mashpia, more influences the one coming in than the other way around. And they explain the reason is, one explanation is because it's stationary. The other one is moving. This one is more like that's his home field. That's where it stands, and it's been there for a while, but it's been there, it's standing there, and therefore it's more mashpia. So it's interesting. That's how Rashi explains. So B'Shamai and B'Shamai say it even in Kli Rishon. Wow. B'Shamai say that even in Kli Rishon, you're not allowed to put soinen into chamin because the chamin that are in there are mashpia. Well, obviously, when you have a tiny bit of chamin and a lot of cold, that's not the story. Let's say it's more or less 50-50. Yeah, let's say it's more or less 50-50. The one that's standing, the one that's underneath, that's been there in accepting the one moving in, is a more powerful one. So if the bottom one is tzoinen, then it's okay, right? Even from Kli Rishon, even if the chamin come from Kli Rishon. The shenken, if the bottom one is chamin, and now you have tzoinen coming in, then according to Tosfos, even in Keli Sheni we have to be machmir. And here comes the sugi of Keli Sheni. Yes. Why? Because Keli Sheni, as we're going to see, Chachamim were goyzer. If you cook in Keli Sheni, you may come to cooking Kli Rishon according to Beth Shammai. Okay, so Beth Shammai say both Rishon and Sheni, Rishon doraisa, Sheni dorabanan. What matters is what? Which one is the bottom one? So both Kli Rishon and Keli Sheni, right? We say that there could be an issue. There could be an issue of what? The bottom one. It's a problem if the bottom one is hot. It's always a problem. Yeah, I'll say this is like X. X means a problem. It's bad. It's not good. If the bottom one is hot, it's an issue. Okay. Now that's what Shammai say. Basila say, "Bein chamin letoch tzoinen, ubein tzoinen letoch chamin mutar, b'med v'omamurim bekois." Oh, here comes the kois I promised you. When it comes to, you're allowed to put whatever you want, either tzoinen chamin, chamin tzoinen, do whatever you want, as long as it is bekli sheni, bekois. Says Beis Hillel that if it's a kois, which is a kli sheni, do whatever you feel like. Yeah. Why? Because we don't believe that there's a gzera in Keli Sheni, especially, and soon you'll see a difference, A kois is something which is for drinking, not for bathing. The anacha was by Chazal is that when a person wants to drink, he doesn't want to have it very, very hot. Today may be different. He doesn't want to have too hot. He doesn't want to burn his tongue. And therefore, by Keli Sheni, there's no room to be geyser when we're talking here about something for drinking. So by Keli Sheni, Mikra Din is allowed. You want to start bifrum on me and be geyser xeris? No. Keli Sheni, which is a kois, is fine. Why? Because it's not really cooking. It's Keli Sheni. And there's no chashash that it will come to heat it so much to an extent that it'll be geyser. I'm not going to connect the kois to Kli Rishon. The kois is something which I intrinsically want to keep as lukewarm. And therefore, by kois, which is Kli Sheni, I'm not going to have any problems, and it's always fine. Cold into hot, hot into cold. That's what Basila say. By the way, oops, I forgot to say Tosfos. We don't have time for Tosfos inside. Tosfos argues with Rashi about the Toani law, and Tosfos says it doesn't apply here. Tosfos says the reason why, according to Shammai, when it's Kli Rishon, the bottom one, let's add the bottom is Mashpia, yeah. The bottom one is the name of the game, yeah. According to Shammai, that's because usually the bottom one has more water, right? Usually the bottom one is you fill water, you have more, then you add a little bit. Usually that's normal way of cooking. B'Shamai is just telling me about amounts. But there are machmir and Keli Sheni. That's B'Shamai's chiddush. Remember that. You have to remember that. Shammai, both Keli Rishon and Keli Sheni have an issue with. The Silas say that if the Keli Sheni is a kos, I don't know about other ones, we'll see later, then it's okay. Because the kos, which is a Keli Sheni, no room to be geyser. Because you'll always want to have it lukewarm, and you're not going to be medamit to Kli Rishon. You won't come from there to real cooking Kli Rishon. It's too far apart in your mentality, in your mind. Now that's what aval be'ambati. When it comes to ambati, they agree to Beshamai. Okay, with ambati they agree to Besilel. Now, what's an ambati? Ambati is the bathtub, which is, according to most Rishonim, is Kli Rishon. The bathtub is a Kli Rishon. Back then, they used to actually heat the bathtub itself. Before modern plumbing, yeah, they would heat the bathtub, and then take off the fire, hopefully. But Lamaisa, the bathtub itself was Kli Rishon, and therefore Basila said, "Oh, in Kli Rishon we agree, of course. Kli Rishon, we agree to our colleagues B'Shamai that if the bottom one is bad, then it's bad. The bottom one is good, then it's good. Adkan Basila and B'Shamai. Okay. Now comes the third opinion. Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh oyster. Oh, Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh forbids oyster. We don't say what he forbids. The assumption is that he's oyster even the top one. Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh oyster more than B'Sham and B'Silel, and in Kli Rishon he answers even if you put hot into cold. Yeah, he answers that. Either he doesn't believe in Total Goval, whatever the reason may be. Kli Rishon, don't mess up. Yeah. And I disagree with you guys, both B'Sham and B'Silel, and I'm telling you that both cold into hot, hot into cold, at least in Kli Rishon, surely I would answer it. That is Reb Shimon ben Manasseh. Okay? So Reb Shimon ben Manasseh is the most severe. Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, what does he say? He says that Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni, I would say, but with Shammai, it's X and tick. Sometimes it's good, right? If the top depends about bottom or top. He says it's always bad. Whether it's Kli Rishon, actually I don't know about Kli Sheni, that will be discussed actually. But Kli Rishon, yeah, whichever one comes into whichever one, it's always Asur. Kli Rishon, I don't believe in Tatal Govar. You should always be concerned that it's cooking. Ilah, Tita, it's always Asur, according to Reb Shimon ben Manasseh. You don't play games with Kli Rishon. Amar Rav Nachman, halachic Reb Shimon ben Manasseh. Rav Nachman the Amoira is paskening the most machmir opinion. Reb Shimon ben Manasseh. So it comes to Kli Rishon, bottom, top, bottom, always also. Kli Sheni we'll leave for later. We don't know what it says about Kli Sheni. L'choira, he's not saying anything about that. Rashi says, Oyser afilu chamin l'toch hatzoinen. Meaning, where? In Kli Rishon. Okay. Now, okay, Sava of Yosef Lamema. The Gemara is now adding something. So these are the three opinions. We're going to work with that. Sava of Yosef Lamema. Rav Yosef wanted to say, Sefel hareu ke'ambati. What's a sefel? A sefel is a very interesting creature. Why? A sefel, if you remember, we saw it before, I think, with the shampoo of Rebbe. A sefel is like a sefel. A sefel is a cup, a big cup, which is not for drinking. Think like your Nagelwasser thing. Yeah, sometimes we were young, we washed our kids, right, in the bathroom, right, in the bathtub. You take something like a Negel Vasa thing and you wash them. You wash the hair, something. Oh, that's a sefel. A sefel is a Keli Sheni. You don't normally put it on the fire, but it's used for washing and not for drinking. So now Rabbi Yosef wants to say that sefel is like ambati, which means although sefel is Keli Sheni, but because sefel is meant for washing, when it comes to washing, then what's with washing? People want to have that bath very hot. So you'll make sure that your Keli Sheni is really steaming hot, and that's a mokum to be geyser even in Keli Sheni, because if you start cooking real hard in your Keli Sheni sefel because you want to wash in real hot water, schwitz, you may come to do it in Keli Rishon. Yeah, which means by kois, which is Keli Sheni, it has two advantages. It's Keli Sheni. You want to be geyser? Kois. Nobody wants to burn his tongue. Mashenken sefel is like ambati. In other words, the sefel is like an ambati. Sefel is Keli Sheni, which midoraisa is okay. But because the sefel is used for washing, you are interested and you'll make sure that it's really hot somehow. You do that. Tomorrow you're going to come to cook in Keli Rishon. And that's what Rav Yosef wanted to say. What? Lefi everybody. Lefi everybody. Because everybody, I think even Lefi Beis. Because why? Because everyone agrees that Keli Rishon, right? He can't cook in Keli Rishon, right? Whichever it's cooked. Keli Sheni, you're allowed to cook. Yeah, it could be even Lefi Beis. You're saying Lefi Beis, yes, Lefi Beis that allow the kois, they won't allow the sefel. Possibly, yes. Yes, that could be. Remember that right now we said Aloch is a Reb Shimon ben Menasya. Aloch is a Reb Shimon ben Menasya. Okay? So now, Amar Abaye. Abaye rejects what Rav Yosef wanted to say. Tani, I'm so sorry, Rav Yosef, you're my rabbi, but it's Mufurish in the Braisa. Tani Rab Chia. I told you about Rab Chia. Rab Chia and Rabbi Shia, they were the certified, right? The Morei Braisas. Hulin Kuf Mem Aleph, Hulin Kuf Mem Aleph, and many other places Rashi brings down. Rab Chia and Rabbi Shia, just like Rebbe was for the Mishnah, Rab Chia and Rabbi Shia, they're the ones who knew Braisas very well. If the Braisa is mentioned by Rab Chia and Rabbi Shia, it's a high quality brisa. Yeah, it has a diploma. So Tani Rabbi Chia, sefel eino ke'ambati. A sefel does not have the din of an ambati, which means a sefel is regular Keli Sheni, and regular Keli Sheni we are not geyser. Yeah, like Besila. Now it works well with Besila Lakiva. Just the kois we're not geyser. So too the sefel we're not geyser. Okay, right? Who are the ones who asked Keli Sheni? Clearly, Beis Shammai. But Besila said Keli Sheni kois is allowed because you're not going to heat it too much. And now we're mechadesh that sefel is not like an ambati, even though the purpose of sefel is different to kois. Both are Keli Sheni because both are Keli Sheni. Both are mutter, and you're not geyser on either kois and not even sefel. Even though sefel you have more of a yetzer to heat it up, it's okay. Yeah, you can cook in Keli Sheni sefel water. Now, even though it's for washing. Now the Gemara is asking as follows: as this is today's the day for Havaminas. The Gemara is going now to mamish go into the Havamina of before. If we connect everything that we said, yeah, something very fun is going to happen here. According to Rabbi Yosef's Havamina, that sefel is like ambati, meaning what? You're not allowed to mix the hot and the cold in a sefel as if it was ambati Keli Rishon, right? Remember, ambati you can't do either, right? And neither can you do. I mean, you can't cook in ambati, you can't cook in Keli Sheni, even if it's sefel, right? And the Omar of Nachman Alochik Reb Shimon ben Menasya, and we pass in like Reb Shimon ben Menasya, right? There was machmir, and he said that both ways are osur. Soinen to that's something we have to know. What did Reb Shimon ben Menasya add? Bottom and top, either hot into cold, cold into hot, or osur in Keli Rishon. You want to tell me sefel is the same as bathtub, as Keli Rishon, and either cold into hot, hot into cold, we pass in like Reb Shimon ben Menasya is osur. So how can you have hot water on Shabbos? How can you have lukewarm water on Shabbos? You can't. In Keli Rishon, whichever way you start, cold into hot, hot into cold, you can. More machmir than Bisham and Besila. And Keli Sheni, you want to tell me now that a sefel is the same halacha. Sefel is there also to be there in the bathtub. Yeah, it's a Keli Sheni, and you can't do hot into cold, cold into hot into Keli Sheni either. So therefore, you can never have warm water for washing on Shabbos. And now the question comes, Ella, b'Shabbos rechitza b'chamin leika. According to Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh, which is the halacha, won't you ever have rechitza in hot water on Shabbos? You may ask for what? But we said before, not like that. Remember what we said before a few dafim ago in daf mem, daf lemetes actually. Oh, with base, we didn't do it together. What did we say? We said that if you heat water before Shabbos, you're not allowed to wash a whole shower or bath on Shabbos. You're not allowed to have hot water shower on Shabbos, but you're allowed to wash your face, hands, and feet on Shabbos with water that was heated before Shabbos. Then you are allowed to. Wait a second. You want me to wash with steaming hot water? You want me to burn myself? Khalila. So when you have the very hot water from before Shabbos, clearly, and you say it's okay to use them, you also probably permit me, as Chazal said, you probably allow me over there to do what? You also allow me to mix the cold and hot. But if you join everything that we said up until now, you come out with the situation that there's never lukewarm water for washing on Shabbos. Let's repeat. Bisham and Basila said sometimes yes, sometimes no, depends bottom or top. Yeah? Basila said the same, even more Meikol. Of Shimon ben Manasseh, which we say is halacha, no. You can't do in Kli Rishon. I told you he speaks about Kli Rishon. Neither hot into cold, not cold into hot. Now, you of Yosef, you had a half a minute to say that really, what? Even Sefel, even Kli Sheni, according to Rav Yosef Savamina, that applies also to Kli Sheni. Yeah, that's what Rav Yosef wanted to say. Both Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni, hot, bottom to top, top to bottom. There's no way you can bichlal have lukewarm water for washing. So when would that apply? The heter of Chazal. That's a question. Answers the Gemara. A revolution here. Yeah. Answers the Gemara. No. Lema urra misavas Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh a seifa kai, a reisha kai. Rabbi Shimon did not relate to the seifa of Beis Hillel. This, by the way, is called seifa because Beis Hillel mentioned it seifa. What did Beis Hillel say? That they agree with the Bisham in a bathtub. Remember, right? In a bathtub, now Kli Rishon, we agree with Bishamai. Hot into cold is okay, right? And cold into hot is not okay. You thought the Reb Shimon Manasseh's statement goes on that, on this Bishamai, and you thought the bottom to top, top to bottom, he always forbids, and now you're stuck. No, it's not what he meant. You know what he meant? He spoke about the Reisha, meaning he spoke about Beis Hillel that allowed you the coast. And what did he say? He said like this. Keep losing the place. Yeah. Reisha kai. What's a Reisha? Ubeis Hillel matirin bein chami letoch tzoyin ben tzoyin letoch chachamim. Where? In Kli Sheni, right? Beis Hillel allowed in kois, which is Kli Sheni, hot into cold, cold into hot, because they say Kli Sheni garnished. And on that, Rabbi Shimon Manasseh oiser. Oh, that's what Rabbi Shimon Manasseh oyster means. Rabbi Shimon Manasseh says in Kli Sheni you can't have cold into hot. You can have hot into cold in Kli Sheni, and that's the leeway. That's the one place. Again, Rabbi Shimon Beis Hillel came with a kula. Let's summarize. Beis Shammai said Kli Rishon, and Beis Shammai also meant Kli Sheni, by the way. Beis Shammai said Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni. We don't care about that. The Oisa, the Rabbanon. Okay, it's not the same, but it's both also. And what's the rule say, Beis Shammai? We care about one thing. Yeah, when it's cold, the stationary bottom thing is cold. You can put hot into that as long as it's more or less the same amount. The cold, which is stationed there, will win, right? And however, cold into hot is not allowed. That's Beis Shammai. The Silos say, listen, we agree with you. That's all very nice about Kli Rishon, but Kli Sheni, which is for drinking, they didn't yet talk about Sefel. Then we're not concerned. Kli Sheni for drinking, you'll never heat it too much. And then you can have hot into cold, cold into hot. Rabbi Shimon Manasseh, I'm cheating. I'm going now with the Maskana. Rabbi Shimon Manasseh, according to the emes, you know what he said? He said, I am answering one point that Beis Hillel allowed, I answer. Beis Hillel allowed two things in Kli Sheni. What did they say? Kli Sheni, which is a kois, right? And we said at the end of the day, Sefel is like a kois. Let me insert that. Kli Sheni, Beis Hillel say, do what you want. Cold, hot, hot into cold. Kli Sheni is absolutely fine. Kois, and not only kois. We were masik afterwards, also Sefel. Comes Rabbi Shimon Manasseh and says, listen, people. I am machmir at one point, and that is Keli Sheni. You're only allowed to have hot into cold, but not cold into hot. So if you're so concerned about the hygiene of Klal Yisrael, washing on Shabbos or whatever that is, we have a good kosher way, and that is what? According to Rav Shimon ben Manasseh, even though halach is like him, you are allowed to take Keli Sheni with cold water, and from the Keli Sheni, you can pour into the cold water, and that's fine. Bime'ara Keli Sheni into cold water, and life is good. And that's Rav Shimon ben Manasseh. And by the way, Sefel anyhow is allowed as Keli Sheni, Einu Kambati. Right? I'm saying that's chutz from me. Well, very nice. So now everything is good. But however, something is not good over here. Frag the Gemara, if you made the cheshbon, Leimer Reb Shimon ben Manasseh domer kebes Shammai. According to you, Reb Shimon ben Manasseh is basically like Bes Shammai. Think about it. Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, both Keli Rishon and Keli Sheni, is not always osur, right? What did we say? Don't osur everything. Don't be such a chanyok. Yeah? You should allow one thing. And what did we allow? We allowed hot into cold. So hot into cold is good. Look, Keli Rishon and Keli Sheni according to Bes Shammai, cold into hot is not allowed. The other way is okay. And Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, according to you, is telling me, Keli Rishon and Keli Sheni, right? This, you're not allowed to have hot into cold into hot. You can have hot into cold. So it comes out that Reb Shimon ben Manasseh is the same as Bes Shammai. First of all, it's not good for a Tana to follow Bes Shammai. They're not popular for us in the Mishnahs. Bes Shammai, B'mokum B'silot and the Mishnah. And secondly, what's in Mechadish, right? Is just repeating Bes Shammai. So what's he coming to tell me? You're coming at the end of the day the same way. Rishon Sheni are the same, fine, Givaldig. And hot into cold is okay, and cold into hot is not okay. Everyone argues, everyone gangs up on Besilel that allowed you more in Keli Sheni, cold, hot, hot, cold. So Reb Shimon ben Manasseh is the same as is the same as Bes Shammai. Answers the Gemara. One second. Achiko Omar, this is unbelievable. Wow. Says Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, I'm not a Bes Shammai follower. I'm just telling you that Bes Shammai and Bes Hillel never argued in that point, and I disagree with what you say about Bes Hillel. I'm not disagreeing with Bes Hillel. I'm disagreeing with the way the Mishnah talks about Bes Hillel. Let's say somebody tells you, Rav Eliashiv never said such a thing. Not arguing with Rav Eliashiv. He's telling you you are wrong for quoting, you're misquoting Rav Eliashiv. People do that a lot. Yeah, I'm not arguing with Rav Eliashiv, but I know he never said such a thing. They're saying Bes Hillel never said that, which means I'm telling you, says Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, that Bes Hillel never allowed Keli Sheni across the board. I'm telling you that Bes Hillel really agreed with Bes Shammai that Keli Sheni, just like Keli Rishon, is the same, and you're telling me that Bes Hillel made kois is more mutter, more permitted? No, it's not true. I don't think, as far as I know, from my Rebbein, what I accepted, Bes Hillel never said that. And maybe Enechanami halacha is like Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, which means really Bes Hillel never said that. That could be. However, that's not going to be the maskon as far as I know. Okay? Okay, so we have now, it's sad to say that Reb Shimon ben Manasseh really reinterprets the Mishnah, and he's telling me that Keli Rishon and Keli Sheni are only okay if it's hot into cold, and it's not okay cold into hot, even in Keli Sheni. Even in Keli Sheni, there's a limitation, and you're not allowed to have the hot water in Keli Sheni and have cold water going into them. Yes, we were goyzer there too. Okay? Say that? Now, Omar Avuna Breder of Yeshua. However, Avuna Breder of Yeshua now is telling us a Ma'aser Rav. Let's see practically what did Amoraim say. Chazina le'lerove deloy kapid amono. I saw Rove with my own eyes, and he wasn't particular about using kli. That he wasn't. He didn't care about cooking water, heating water in Keli Sheni. Mana here means Kli. Mana always means Kli. Mana means Keli Sheni over here. Yeah, I saw Rava, and he wasn't machmir. He wasn't particular, and we're also talking about heating water for washing. He took water in Keli Sheni, and he cooked the water, he heated the water in the Keli Sheni. We have a discussion here, right? Is Keli Sheni okay, not okay? Are we goyzer, aren't we goyzer? Look, Rava seems to be, didn't care about it. Why did Rava think that? Because Rabbi Chia is a brisa, Rabbi Chia is the master of the brises. Noisen odom, keton shelmaim letoch sefel shelmaim. A keton is a smaller kli, and it's closed. Imagine like a shampoo bottle full of, let's say, water, a bottle of water, and he put it inside a bigger kli of sefel. He put it like in a bigger cup, in a bigger like a bowl of water. Ben chamin letoch tzoinen uben tzoinen letoch chamin, which means either he placed chamin of kli sheni and he placed them in a bottle, dark kli sheni, the bottle wasn't on the fire, and he placed them inside cold water, or tzoinen letoch chamin, he took chamin in kli sheni, and inside the kli sheni he placed a bottle of cold water. So you see that for him, cold into hot, hot into cold, life is good. Kli sheni, you don't have to be machmir. The way we understood Beis at the beginning, the way we understood Beis originally, although they said kos, but we said sefel is like kos. Here, sefel kli sheni, chofshi chofshi. Rava allows you anything to do in kli sheni, either way, hot into cold, cold into hot. And Rava is right. He has a brisa like Reb Chia that says you can have a hot or cold bottle of water into hot kli sheni or cold. Now, Omar Ravuna Ravashi says Ravuna Ravashi, I'm sorry, I'm not sure Rava is right the way he's interpreting the brisa, what he's deriving from the brisa. Why? Dil shani hosem de mifsak kli. It's not the same, meaning when you have mamish water that is mixing right away, the hot into cold, cold into hot, that could be a problem, especially cold into hot. Over there, the brisa of Reb Chia was, as I stressed to you before, it's a closed bottle, like a baby bottle, like a shampoo bottle, a closed bottle that is inside the water, but it's not mixed with the water. It contains its own temperature. Of course, it's not as influenced by the surroundings when it's inside a separate bottle. So maybe the only cooler of Reb Chia was he allowed to place the bottle of cold water into Kli Sheni hot water, or Kli Sheni hot water into Kli, which is cold water, and that's okay because there won't be really mushpeh. Of course, there's some kind of passage of temperature, not the same. But Sheinken, what Rava is doing, mamish pouring and mixing Kli Sheni hot water into cold or vice versa, who said that's allowed? He's taking it, he's extending the kula of Reb Chia. Omar Le, he told him, very nice, but me'are itmar. Wow. There is another brisa, or maybe correction for that brisa, I'm not sure. There is another way to verbalize the brisa with me'are. What's le'arois? To mix, to pour. Yeah? Me'are odom kiton shel mayim letoch sefel shel mayim. Wow. A person is allowed to take from a bottle of water into sefel is always Kli Sheni, into Kli Sheni of water, from a bottle into Kli Sheni, and mix. Mamish, to mamish, pour in. Yeah? Wow. See, in the Kli Sheni, we see that you're allowed to have even hot water of Kli Sheni, you can pour into cold, or cold water, even bigger chiddush, cold water into the hot water of the Kli Sheni, right? And that is okay in the brisa, and that's how Rava did what he did, because you are allowed to mix the Kli Sheni water with other water, cold and hot, or vice versa, in Kli Sheni, and there's no gzera. So it seems to be. Halacha l'maaseh, we're not learning now. By the way, there's a famous chayodam which Rav mentioned. There's a famous chayodam. The chayodam is, I think, the only one who says it, and then everyone's like concerned. Chayodam says that ambati, even if it's Kli Sheni, when we said ambati all along, what did I say? Kli Rishon. True. Some people say ambati Kli Sheni, right, like Tosfos, and even the B'Shami were goizer. But the Chayodam wants to say that ambati, because it's roiseach, it's not yad soledis, it's yad nichvis boy. It's not that you repulsed when you touch it, you burn when you touch it, even for half a second. When you have something, even in Kli Sheni, such as ambati, which could be Kli Sheni, and it's scorching hot, mamish boiling hot, then Bishul applies to it midoraisa. That's a famous humor of the Chayodam. Not everyone holds of that. Ravadia for sure not. Some people hold of that, like for the tea or coffee, Kli Sheni, when it's mamish boiling hot, steaming hot, it could be a problem that you don't have the kula of Kli Sheni. Do as you want, yeah, but I'm not machmir like that, and many people don't. Shmer Shabbos, I don't think it's machmir as far as I know. Some people do. Depends who you ask. Rav, not me. Okay, what? No, because Yad Nichvis Bo is so hot that it manages to cook before the walls are olechum mitkaver. It does no. No, but it's so hot that it can cook whatever even before the walls get cold. I guess. That anyway, that's what it says. Atzlacha bracha. Okay. Tomorrow, Be'ezras Hashem, we're going to learn the first half of this year is about Bishul, and the second half is about Muktzeh. And the entire next week is going to be about Muktzeh. And then we'll finish the parak at the end of next week, and we'll do B'mei Toimnin. Interesting parak. Atzlacha to everybody. Thank you very much. Kol hakavod for coming here. Evening in, evening out. Kol hakavod. Atzlacha. Thank you.